こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、サッカー日本代表に関する動画です。キック&ランからの動画では、特に日本代表の選手それぞれの名前を挙げながら、このスカッドがいかに優れているのかを強調しています。ゴールキーパーからアタッカーまで、各ポジションに欧州トップレベルで実績を積んだ選手が揃っており、欧州リーグでの経験が豊富、かつ、実際のヨーロッパの国に対する戦績も明らかにいいことから、同組のオランダやスウェーデンといった欧州勢への対応力が高いと話しています。三笘薫や南野拓実の欠場があっても戦力は充実しており、日本はベスト8だけでなく、アジア勢として20年以上ぶりのベスト4進出も期待できると話していますが、実際にどのように話しているのかチェックしてみましょ
う。France, England, Portugal, Argentina, and Brazil.These are some nations entering this year's World Cup with the most terrifying squads, and everyone has them up as their favorites to win the trophy. But there is one team you absolutely should not sleep on. Japan. A team filled with players currently dominating Europe's elite leagues and carrying far more experience than the average fan would realize. And when Hajime Moriyasu released Japan's 26-man squad for the World Cup on May 15th,one thing became immediately obvious. Take Zion Suzuki.
McTominay hits the free kick! What a save from Suzuki!
He is playing in Serie A with Parma, against some of the best players in the world. That kind of experience will surely come in handy at a tournament like the World Cup. And on top of that, Suzuki is just 23. So, this is one for the present and for the future.But when you get to the outfield players, that's when it gets even more interesting. They have Hiroki Ito, who plays for German giants Bayern Munich. He returned from a metatarsal fracture late last year and went on to feature in 23 games, helping Bayern complete the domestic treble and reach the semi-finals of the Champions League. They also have Yukinari Sugawara, who has experience playing in the Premier League and the Bundesliga. He is a right-back who's great at defensive work, but is also a real threat going forward.Then, they also have the Ajax pair of Takehiro Tomiyasu and Ko Itakura. Of course, Tomiyasu has a lot of experience playing in the Premier League, having been with Arsenal for years. He had his problems with injuries, but it's looking like he'll be back to a level that could be very valuable for Japan at this World Cup. Itakura is also really solid and has ample experience in Europe, having been on the books of Man City, Borussia Mönchengladbach, and Schalke 04, among others.And we just cannot overlook the value that Yuto Nagamoto's experience could bring to that team. He's the nation's second most capped player of all time, and is gearing up to feature in his 5th World Cup and his 9th major tournament for Japan. Even though he's not expected to start, this kind of experience in big tournaments could be very valuable, especially in the knockout rounds when things begin to get really tricky.He will also be a tremendous help in the dressing room for the younger players who are only getting their first taste of a major tournament. But the midfield is perhaps even more impressive. They have Wataru Endo, who is a Premier League champion with Liverpool and is expected to captain the Japan side at the North American Showdown this summer. And he'll be joined by a host of other players with just as much experience at the very top level of European football. Daichi Kamada has played in the German Bundesliga, in the Italian Serie A,Daichi Kamada! And now plays in the English Premier League with Crystal Palace.
Kamada towards Gaines, lashed in by Shaw!
He knows exactly what it feels like to win with an underdog team, having won the FA Cup with Palace and the Europa League with Eintracht Frankfurt. He'll be bringing that type of mentality to Japan's World Cup campaign, which could really be a game changer.Ao Tanaka is another Premier League star who just had a very impressive season with Leeds United and will be entering into the World Cup in great form. And there are other guys like Kaishu Sano and Ritsu Don who are top players who also have a lot of experience playing in top European leagues. And the importance of this experience in Europe just cannot be overstated. First of all, it's obvious that Europe is the peak of football.The best players, coaches, tactics, opponents, everything is there. And it's simple. If you want to be the best, you have to test yourself against the best. But as for Japan, it's more than that. They have been drawn in Group F at this year's World Cup, along with 2 European nations, Sweden and the Netherlands. The experience that the Japanese players have playing in these European leagues will really come in handy when going up against these European nations, as they are already familiar with their styles, their philosophies, and their approaches to the games. And to be fair, they've done it once. They've slayed European giants before. 4 years ago, they topped a group that had 2 former world champions in Spain and Germany. Absolutely no one gave them a chance coming into the 2022 World Cup. But wins against the 2 European nations guaranteed their spot at the summit of the table. They would then go on to hold Croatia to a draw in the round of 16, only missing out on the quarterfinals on penalties. So essentially, the only game Japan lost in normal time at the 2022 World Cup was the game they played against a non-European nation. So it appears that their players and style are better suited for European opponents. And we believe that the experience of these players in the big European leagues is a big contributing factor. And that theme also continues into the attack. They have Takefusa Kubo, who is genuinely one of the most terrifying wingers in La Liga. He currently plays for Real Sociedad, but he was previously on the books of both Barcelona and Real Madrid. That's how good he is. This is a player who can make things happen and can create a lot out of absolutely nothing. With him on the wing, Japan can unlock any defense and can always produce something even in the tightest of games. Then you have Daisen Maeda, who is coming off the craziest title-winning season with Celtic, which made it his 10th trophy with the club. Just last year, he was named Celtic Player of the Year and PFA Scotland's Players Player of the Year. With a player like this, you just can never completely write Japan off. And of course, we just could not leave out Ayas Uda. He plays for Feyenoord in the Dutch Eredivisie and just finished as the league's top scorer, after having scored 8 more goals than the second best. A player who has outscored Dutch players in their own league coming to the World Cup to go up against the Netherlands national team? Yeah, that's surely a secret weapon in the arsenal of the Japan national team. Another attacker who has been killing it in the Netherlands is Koki Ogawa. He plays for NEC and was directly involved in 12 goals in 26 appearances this season. In fact, the Japan squad features 5 players who currently play their football in the Dutch league. Considering they'll be going up against the Netherlands national team at the World Cup, guys, we definitely have to watch out. You also must watch out for Yuto Suzuki, a player who can play as a second striker or on the wings. This season, he helped Freiburg reach their first ever European final, famously scoring twice in the quarterfinal against Celta Vigo. He's currently out with a broken collarbone, but he's expected to be back in time to help Japan at the World Cup. They also have Kaito Nakamura, who just came off a 14-goal season with Reims. He can play as a left winger and a striker, and is both a good creator and a good finisher. He got the equalizer in the friendly against Brazil and assisted the only goal of the game against England, so it's obvious that his form translates well into the national team. And, well, since we've mentioned those games, let's just talk about them for a second. Those preparation matches are surely another reason to not write off this Japan team. Not only do they have quality on the pitch, those players have proven that they can work together to slay any giant. We saw them do it at the last World Cup when they defeated Spain and Germany, and they have carried that form all the way to this year, beating England and Brazil. Yeah, we know those were just friendly games and the World Cup will be a different ballgame, but to carry a 6-game unbeaten run going into the World Cup is surely a huge confidence booster, especially when that run included wins against former world champions like Brazil and England. You simply cannot write these guys off. The Japanese have an extraordinary work ethic and a spirit of togetherness that makes them very hard to break. And you bet that they'll have their fans behind them at the tournament, so they're surely about to be a real problem. And you know what's crazy? This squad could have been even scarier if not for injuries. The likes of Takumi Minamino and Kaoru Mitoma will not be traveling to the Americas this summer because of injuries they picked up while playing with their clubs. And we're talking 2 hugely experienced, Prem-proven superstars who would have really elevated the team. But in spite of those big misses, Japan will still be able to field a very scary team at the World Cup. And that tells you all you need to know about the state of football in the country right now. It's definitely in a really, really good place. So, all things considered, how far do you think Japan will go at the 2026 World Cup? Will they make it to the quarterfinals? Or could they become the first Asian nation in over 2 decades to reach the Final Four? Let me know what you think in the comments.
次は解説です。今回は、特定の体の部位や、怪我の名前についての解説も少し入ってますが、本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。That kind of experience will surely come in handy.
come in handy は、役に立つや重宝するという意味のイディオムです。単にユースフルというよりも、必要な時にちょうど助けになるというニュアンスがあります。日常会話では、傘やスマホの充電器など、後で必要になるかもしれないものについてもよく使われます。スポーツでは経験やリーダーシップ、戦術理解などが大会で役立つという文脈で頻繁に登場します。ネイティブが自然によく使う便利な表現なので、そのまま覚えておくと会話で使いやすいです。英語ニュースや解説動画でもよく耳にする定番フレーズです。
That kind of experience will surely come in handy. That kind of experience will surely come in handy. He returned from a metatarsal fracture late last year.
メタターサルフラクチャーは中足骨骨折という意味の医療用語です。メタターサルは足の甲の骨、フラクチャーは骨折を意味します。サッカーのニュースではフットフラクチャーよりもメタターサルフラクチャーの方が具体的な表現として使われることが多いです。フラクチャーは骨折やひびを意味する単語で、日本語では骨折とひびを分けて言うことが多いですが、医学的にはひびも骨折の一種と考えられ、いずれもフラクチャーで表現されます。また骨だけでなく、岩や建物の亀裂を表すこともあります。
He returned from a metatarsal fracture late last year. He returned from a metatarsal fracture late last year and is gearing up to feature in his fifth World Cup.
ギアラップは準備を進めるや体制を整えるという意味の駆動詞です。もともとはギアロの装備という意味から生まれた表現で、装備を整えて行動に備えるイメージがあります。スポーツでは大会や大一番の試合に向けて準備する場面でよく使われます。ニュースやスポーツ記事でも頻繁に登場する定番表現です。プリペアフォーよりも少しエネルギッシュで前向きな響きがあります。ネイティブがよく使う便利なフレーズなので、そのまま覚えておくと役立ちます。
And is gearing up to feature in his fifth World Cup. And is gearing up to feature in his fifth World Cup. They've slayed European giants before.
スレイはもともと殺すや討ち取るという意味の単語です。しかし現代のスポーツ英語では、強敵を倒す、格上を撃破するという意味でよく使われます。また日常英語では、最高だった、圧倒的に成功したという意味でも使われます。特に若者言葉や SNS では非常に人気のある表現です。スポーツ記事ではジャイントスレイヤーやスレイザチャンピオンズといった表現もよく登場します。覚えておくと英語の実況や記事がより楽しめるでしょう。
They've slayed European giants before. They've slayed European giants before. He's currently out with a broken collarbone.
コラーボーンは鎖骨を意味する日常的な単語です。首と肩をつなぐ部分にある骨を指します。スポーツでは転倒や接触プレーによって骨折しやすい部位として知られています。医療用語ではクラビコルとも呼ばれますが、ニュースや会話ではコラーボーンの方が一般的です。サッカーやラグビー、自転車競技などでは特によく耳にする単語です。怪我のニュースを理解するために覚えておくと便利です。
He's currently out with a broken collarbone. He's currently out with a broken collarbone. Japan will still be able to field a very scary team at the World Cup.
フィールドは野原や競技場を意味する単語として知られていますが、実は分野や領域という意味でも非常によく使われます。フィールドチームはチームを送り出すや選手を起用するという意味です。トイックではビジネスフィールドやフィールドオフィスのような形で頻繁に登場します。意味が多い単語なので文脈から判断することが大切です。スポーツ英語でもビジネス英語でも非常に重要な基本単語です。
Japan will still be able to field a very scary team at the World Cup. Japan will still be able to field a very scary team at the World Cup.
いかがでしたか？こうやって見ると、今のメンバーがどれだけ素晴らしいメンバーで、どれだけ欧州での経験を積んできたのかが改めてわかるような動画でした。差の回数については、日本人の市場価値が最も高いにもかかわらず、やはりまた全くと言っていいほど解説されていませんでしたが、この大会で、差の回数が世界を驚かせるのも、時間問題だと、ほぼ全てのサッカーファンが感じていることでしょう。同様に鈴木ザイオンの世界的認知度が一気に上がる大会にもなるでしょうし、個人的には、やはり三笘と南の不在という点からも、 久保建英には、大車輪で働き、大活躍と言えるようなものを期待したいところです。さらにその久保建英と鈴木彩音の市場価値を抜いてしまった鈴木唯人にも、彼らしいゴール前の冷静さとクオリティを見せてほしいなと思います。さらには、これまでもずっと過小評価され続けてきたとも言える伊東純也には、プレミアリーグでも通用していたはずであり、今でもなお、通用するだろうと思えるようなプレーを期待し、何よりもただ、楽しみにしています。もうワールドカップも明日開幕です。またいろんな動画をできるだけ多く扱っていきたいとは思いますので、いいねやチャンネル登録は特にいりませんが、ただお楽しみください。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。